Good morning and happy Sunday, folks. It is, outside it's a beautiful day. However, you wouldn't know it, but it's actually 27 out now, which is a huge contrast from, I wouldn't say huge contrast. It's literally like 9 degrees warmer than when I did my live vlog last night. Speaking of which, let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Yeah, yesterday was very cold. Very cold. Like, I was so, cold yesterday that, I wouldn't say I was cold all day. I mean, obviously, as long as I was indoors, I was fine. But I legit wore, a pair of long johns underneath the outfit I wore to church and dinner and going out. And man, did it make a difference. It made a huge difference. Honestly, the only reason why I'm not wearing them now is because A, it is going to be a little bit warmer. It's going to be a high of 43, which is good. I mean, it's not as warm as it was Friday, but, considering that it's late February, anything 40 or above, I'll take. And again, it's not like I'm going to spend the entire day outside doing whatever it is I'm going to do. So, in that regard, I'm pretty good. My high is, so yesterday my low was cold. What was that? It was cold out yesterday. My high is, I got to see my family yesterday. I got to have a church and dinner with the folks. Got to watch my nephews. And also, considering how early I was up yesterday, taking a nap. I took a nap too. I needed to take a nap. I did. So, needless to say, between yesterday's nap and the fact that I was able to sleep in more today, I'm definitely feeling more refreshed. And now I'm ready to take on the day, which, it's a pretty easy day for me. Literally after I upload this video, what I'm then going to do is, hopefully I can get the video uploaded before I head to church. That's usually what I do. I mean, if I can just get the video started uploading by 10 after 9, it's not even 10 of 9 right now. So if I can just get the video started uploading by 10 after 9, I should be okay. And you know what? I have to add one more thing to my low, by the way, is that I told you guys I'm getting my computer fixed, right? So apparently the order couldn't be processed because for whatever reason, my payment method was invalid or something. So I had to reorder it. So I had to redo the order again. I mean, thankfully I didn't lose any money. So basically, I had to order it again, and if for whatever reason it doesn't work, I'm still going to get refunded. So, that's good. I still wish I got my computer, especially when, I guess in a way this is a sign that I do need a new computer. I really do. Honestly, if computers weren't so expensive, I would totally, get it. Then again, if I was a famous YouTube person, I would totally get myself a new computer. But I'm not there yet. So for now, I have to stick with what I got. So that's my low and my high. My act of kindness was I did help my parents, watch my nephews yesterday at dinner. It's funny. In terms of my nephew's behavior yesterday at the restaurant, it was a little bit better, I guess. Not that much better, but, they didn't really get up and run around. Their thing was that they were loud. So, yeah, that happened. Also, mean, man, I really hate to say this. I really do hate to say this. I really don't want to say this. I don't really ever want to say anything bad about wherever it is I go for dinner. But yesterday when we were at Sorge's, the service was slow. Like, I get that they were clearly understaffed, but like it took them a good 15 minutes to just remember to get me a water. Like, they got my soda, but honestly, I'd rather have water first. So within like 15 minutes to get me water, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So, I mean, that and okay, here's the thing. Whenever I order Sorge's, two things I get are a salad with Italian dressing and crumbly blue cheese. And I also get the blue cheese melted on the steak that I order because you can get it that way. They forgot the blue cheese on both occasions. I mean, I didn't say anything. I didn't complain. The only reason why I didn't was because considering how long I had to wait for it, I'm like, just forget it. I'll have it as is. I mean, the steak was still good. It was still cooked to my liking, and it was still, tender and juicy. So it's not, it's not the end of the world. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't necessarily need blue cheese, but it adds a level of, for those of you who actually like eating blue cheese, not just for wings, but for, other things that you eat, blue cheese just adds a dimension of depth to whatever it is you're eating. It just does. I mean, it adds dimension and depth to a salad. It adds it to a steak, especially when it's melted. Like, it just adds that extra something that makes it just about perfect. I mean, there really is no such thing as the perfect dinner or whatever, but without it, it definitely feels as if you're missing something, especially if you're used to having it at all. But honestly, I'm sure what happened like yesterday at Sorge's, I'm sure that was an anomaly. I mean, honestly, having a bad dinner from any of your favorite places, whether it's like Sorge's or Elbow Room or heaven forbid a bad experience at a place like Libs, I like to think it's like having the measles. I mean, I personally never had the measles, but I know that you pretty much only get them once, and once you actually do get it, heaven forbid, you never get it again. And that's pretty much what I feel is, I mean, again, like, honestly, in my entire life, I really can't remember a bad experience I've ever had at Sorge's. And by all accounts, yeah, yesterday the service was slow. I wouldn't say it was an overall bad experience. It's just, again, one of those things that happened. Many years ago from Elbow Room, I actually once got wings that, didn't look appealing to me. And that was due to a number of factors. I mean, for starters, I remember that day I really wasn't feeling so well. Not to mention, when I had the wings, they were, ordered takeout. My dad brought them, again, this is I think it might have been 11, 12 years old when this happened. And, so my dad brings them home, for takeout. And, I mean, again, even extra crispy wings lose their luster when they're under a styrofoam container. The steam kind of makes them less crispy. I mean, honestly, I think the last time I ever had Elbow Room wings take out was when we were setting things up for Christmas or something, and we got wings and stuff from Elbow Room. So, and they were fine. Again, an anomaly. I mean, and honestly, looking back on things now, as long as I'm talking about, bad restaurant experiences in the past, the grand poobah of them all for me will probably always be the first time I ever recall going to Libs. I know, right? Like, I think I might have been like 5, 6, maybe 7 years old. And I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this. It was a Saturday. I remember it was a Saturday. And back then, my brother loved the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And back when I was little, I remember the spoiler, the revelation that Judge Doom was not only a tune, but he was the tune that killed Eddie Valiant's brother. Like that reveal, like the eyes and everything, like that scared me when I was a kid. But anyway, we're like just about getting to the climax of the movie, and then we go to church, and then we go to dinner at Libs. Now, I want to make one thing clear. What happened at Libs this very day, and again, there's like many, again, I'm only like at most 7 years old. What happened that night was nothing bad. You know, it was a whole bunch of us together. It was like my dad, my brother, my grandparents, my aunt, and like several other people. I think we were there for my grandfather's birthday, because I do believe this was like in March. And what I remember most about that night was like the fact that it really felt as if it took forever for our food to arrive. And this is before I learned how to tell time. But I'm like, man, it's gonna be like 1 o'clock in the morning by the time we're done here. Obviously it wasn't when we left, but again, I was too young to learn how to tell time. So I don't know how long we're there. I mean, obviously it wasn't that late, but still. And I remember, because when I was growing up, like the thing I would always get for dinner on Saturday nights, and this should tell you how young I was. My dinner of choice back in the day, chicken fingers and fries. And Libs doesn't have chicken fingers and fries. They had a burger, but they thought it'd be too big for me to eat. So they gave me their chicken scampi. And I remember not really, and I'm pretty sure it was the chicken scampi, because it was like a big piece of breaded chicken in like sauce that I was too young to acquire a taste for. And then I remember I was sitting next to my aunt, so pretty much what I had for dinner that night was like bits of of the steak that my aunt was eating. And I'll never forget when we were done that night. It was only like maybe 7:30 when we were done. So I was very much off for how late we were. So it gets to about like 8:15 by the time we get back to Big Flats. And we finished watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So, yeah. It's just one of those things. I mean, again, like if I were to replay that whole day in my head, like knowing what I know now, I totally would have believed I had a great meal at Libs. But here's the thing though, I'll never forget, like, for a good while, if you ever went back to Libs again, I'd always dread because I knew how long it took. And come to think of it, I don't think I ever really talked about when I actually started really liking Libs. I believe I was 13 years old. And it was the first time I ever tried their shrimp scampi. And it changed me. Like, it was the one thing I was, like, I remember that shrimp scampi being the best thing I'd ever eaten. And now, like, 21 years later, I can tell you that it still holds up. So, I guess it was all meant to be, you know. So, here's the thing. If for whatever reason the lesson here is the following. You know, if you ever have a bad experience at a restaurant, especially if it's a restaurant you love to go to, I wouldn't necessarily say you should fret on it. I mean, There are so many factors that have to happen for anyone to have a bad experience at any given restaurant. Not to mention, taste overall is objective. I mean, there are people who have a bad experience at a restaurant simply because they waited too long for their food, despite how good the food was. There are people who, have been to restaurants where the service bent over backwards for you, but the food was just not what you were expecting. So there's varying degrees of evil there. At the end of the day, the people who work in restaurants, they're trying. If for whatever reason, heaven forbid, you have a bad experience, I'm sure it's just an anomaly. Like, if you give it another chance, I'm sure your experience will be vastly different. In fact, you know what? I've got one more. Union Block Italian Bistro. Like, this is back when Union Block was in Hammondsport. I'll never forget this. I think overall we wait like an hour and a half for our food. And keep in mind, this is back when in Hammondsport, it was like a small restaurant. It was really cramped. So when they moved to Penn Yan, I gave it a second chance. And a year later, it was the place I was looking forward most to going back to. And now, when we start going back up to Teak Lake again, you better believe I'm going to go back. I'm definitely going to go back and I'm going to enjoy it. So, again, moral of the story is, if for whatever reason you have a bad experience at any restaurant you like, just give it a second chance. Make an effort to come back, give it a second chance. I'm sure things will be a lot different. Or if you're really that upset about it, just don't go. I mean, you don't have to listen to me. I'm just telling you what I do. I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys watching your video. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to us, we're here to lend you back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.